Welcome back to another episode of Rate My Portfolio. And today we have selected the portfolio of Adam. Now, Adam reached out to me this week asking about his portfolio, saying, is this something that I can make $1 million on after taxes? To answer that, we're going to get into the details of everything that he owns, and I'm going to give him my critiques on what I think is good about his portfolio, what I think he could change a little bit, and ultimately give him a score of how acceptable this portfolio is. But if you're ready for that, make sure to smash the like, hit subscribe, and we got to roll an intro. All right, let's get right into the details. If you did not watch episode 1, you can watch that right after this, but I want to remind everyone listening that this series, Rate My Portfolio, is not financial advice, right? This is for educational and entertainment value all the way around. So obviously, Adam can take my advice. He cannot take my advice. It's completely on him. I want him to continue to do his research. Hopefully, those of you guys listening at home, maybe your portfolio is similar. Maybe it's a little different. Maybe you hear some critiques on how I would structure a portfolio, and maybe you apply that to yourself. Either way, though, I want to make sure we're clear on the criteria that I am judging these portfolios on. Number one, we're going to be talking about coin selection. Are these coins that I myself would hold in my personal portfolio? Number two, we're going to talk about goals compared to what the actual value of this portfolio is, meaning whatever the goals are, whatever they're asking for, is it realistic in their expectations that they can actually get that accomplished? Number three, diversification. You don't want to go all in on one coin. You want to spread out. You want to have a lot of different avenues that you can make some money. Number four, we're going to talk about niches. There's 5 niches I think that every portfolio should at least explore having. We're going to talk about L1s, real world assets, AI, ISO 222 tokens, and DPEN. These are the 5 different niches in crypto that I do think having exposure to is a wise move. And then number 5, your overall portfolio's risk to reward management. With that said, we had a lot of coins to break down today for Adam, so let's go ahead and get into the details. Now, let's start off with coin selection. What am I going to rate coin selection? Let's go through the list of what he has, and I'm not even going to say the numbers yet. I'm going to wait for goals for that one, but let's just run through the coins that Adam has here. He has Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui, Chainlink, Cardano, AVAX, ONDO, Render, FET, IMX, Beam, DAG, and SHIB. So we're coming in around 14 coins, which is on the higher end, right? That I recommend, especially newer investors, that keep it smaller, keep it under 10. But hopefully, Adam, you've been investing for a while. Hopefully, you know what you're doing. I'm going to allow the number to be okay. And in fact, the majority of the coins in here I really like. Where I'm struggling is there's a couple coins at the bottom that I just don't know if they're fully necessary, like IMX, Beam, and DAG. Again, maybe these are just wild. You threw it out there saying, hey, maybe they do something special. I want to invest in these. But, those are ones that I possibly wouldn't have in my portfolio. SHIB is one that I'm kind of on the fence about. And nothing against SHIB. I think SHIB can make people money. I think that there's some other coins that are very similar that could potentially make you a little more. So those last 4, I have a couple of question marks about. The other ones, though, the other 10, I love them. I'm going to give you a good score here of 7, right? So overwhelmingly, you want to average a 7 across all 5 scores. I'm going to give you a 7, and the reason why it's not a 10 is because, again, I would question if you really need the IMX, Beam, and DAG. I'm giving you a 7 and not a lower than that because I like your other 10 coins. So I'm going to give you a passing score and say, you know what? My only critique, you don't necessarily have to own at least those 3 IMX, Beam, and DAG. But we'll move on to number 2, the goals, and this is where we get into some details. Now, Adam messaged me and he said, I want to take this portfolio. This portfolio is roughly, at the time of me recording this, $262,000, right? That's a good portfolio. He said, my goal is when I cash out, I want to make $1 million after taxes. So I want a 6 to 7x, or roughly, I want this to turn into a 1.6 million or higher portfolio. That's the goal he has here. But when I get into these numbers and details, I'll explain to you why I think that his goal is a little rich and his score is going to be a little low. So let's talk about those numbers. Bitcoin, he has 1.5 Bitcoin worth at the moment, roughly $154,000. Bitcoin currently is trading at about 102. I'm not going to tell you all the numbers. We got 14 coins to go through, but I'm going to tell you the value of each of them. So he has $154,000 of Bitcoin 1.5. He has 9 Ethereum worth of roughly 30,700. He has 71 Solana, roughly 15,600. He has Sui. Those are dollars, by the way, that second number. He has Sui. He has 2,000 Sui worth $9,800. He has 460 Chainlink worth $11,000. He has 8,900 Cardano worth $9,800. He has 229 AVAX worth $9,300. He has 5,000 ONDO worth $6,200. He has 600 Render worth $4,700. He has 3,300 FET worth $4,600. Then he has 2,500 IMX worth $3,500. 75,000 Beam worth $1,800. 2,600 DAG worth $193. And then 27 million SHIB roughly worth $655. So the good news here, and we go back to that first goal, at least doesn't have a lot of money in the ones that I'm like, hey, I don't know if you need to hold these. So those are kind of like gimmies. You don't have to hold a lot there. But what stands out is, again, a $262,000 portfolio, and more than half of it, $154,000 of that is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin, realistically, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to do that 6-7x that Adam wants. So we got to understand that with more than half of the portfolio invested in one coin that is a secure coin, right? I think that from here, we'll talk about the numbers in a second. I think that Bitcoin is going to do some good numbers. It's going to be a safe return on your investment, but it's going to touch 6 to 7x with a 10-foot pole? Absolutely not. So goals here, I'm going to tell you guys the math here in a second. I think realistically, what we're looking at here, Adam, is your portfolio in a conservative estimate is only going to make it towards $1.1 million, not up to that 1.6, 1.7 that you need to get, your taxes taken out and still have $1 million left over. And the reason for that is you're heavily over there in Bitcoin. So that's going to affect your goal score. I like your concept of 6 to 7x, right? I do like that, but your current portfolio really is not attainable. So I'm going to give you a 6 because I like your eagerness. And I think there's very small moves you can make, but it's below a 7. It's not quite a passing grade. I think you got to shift some of that Bitcoin into other things like Chainlink, like Cardano or ONDO or AVAX. But yeah, you're a little heavy up top. By the way, your other ones sitting right beneath it, 30,000 in Ethereum and 15,000 in Solana. Solana maybe gets to a 6 or 7x, but Ethereum won't get to a 6 or 7x. So you're a little heavy in coins that aren't going to get you to your goal. So I do think we need to diversify that just a little more. And that kind of gets us into the next one, diversification. Number 7. We're talking about where this portfolio is going to be and what the numbers are here in a second. But let's get to diversification, where I'm actually going to start with the number and then explain why. I'm going to give you a 7. I'm going to give you a passing on diversification. And I'm not taking goals into the equation here. I'm just looking at your portfolio and saying, yeah, you have more than half in Bitcoin. But if there was any coin to have more than half of your portfolio in, Bitcoin is the one, right? Bitcoin is the only coin right now that I feel super safe about its future. While there's other cryptos out there that I like, I think Bitcoin's pretty safe there. So even though you're heavy, I like what you're going with Bitcoin. I like the rest of the selections. So overwhelmingly, the reason you're getting a 7 is a passing grade is because you're heavy in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But I like those coins, and I think they're safe investments. So therefore, you're not getting a failing grade. You're not going to get a crazy high grade because high grade would be, no, you actually have great diversification. If something went wrong with your high holders, you'd still be okay. So passing grade 7, but again, same as goals. You could split some of those high 3 coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. You could kind of bring those into some more, risky coins, but also higher reward coins like the Suis, Links, Cardano, so on and so forth. So there's that one. Let's move into number 4, niche. Now the niche, you're going to get a great score here. Niche, for anyone who's wondering, we're talking about the 5 niches I mentioned earlier, layer 1s, real world assets, AI, ISO 222, and DPIN. And you've got these covered all the way around. You're getting a 10 on this one. I can't diversify into these better. You have several L1s on there, Solana, Ethereum, Cardano, so on and so forth. You have a couple real world assets in Chainlink and AVAX. You have multiple AI with FET and Render, but DPIN, you also cover that because you have Render, which is a DPIN coin. And then, of course, ISO 222. You have several of these, but I'm going to let Cardano be the passing grade for that one. So you have all 5, and you're split amongst those. You get a passing grade. You are covering your niches, my friend. You get a 10. That's going to help your score out a lot. And let's move into number 5. Number 5, risk to reward. This is going to be your lowest grade, my friend. And it is going to be 5. You're going to get a 5 on risk to reward. And the reason for that is because you're heavily up there in Bitcoin. And it's going to keep you from getting your reward. Ultimately, this kind of ties similarly to diversification and goals. You're not going to get your goals with your current split. So love your risk, right? You're very low risk. The reason you're not getting a 2 or 3 is because it's not a risky portfolio. It's just not, because it's not a risky portfolio at all. You really limit your reward, your upside. So you're getting a 5 on this one. To get a passing grade on that score, you would need to split this up a little differently. But with all that being said, the goal of a portfolio is to average a 7. So out of 50, you want to get to a 35 score. And when you tally these numbers up, 7 on coin selection, 6 on goals, 7 on diversification, 10 on niche, and then a 5 on risk to reward. Even though you get a red flag on risk to reward and goals, you got a 35. So this is a passing portfolio. If your goals weren't so high, if you weren't saying, I want to turn this portfolio into $1 million after taxes, if you were just saying, no, I understand this is only a 4X portfolio, you would have gotten a 10 almost across the board. This would be a perfect portfolio. But I understand your desire to get $1 million after taxes. And I'm just here to tell you, I do not think this portfolio is going to do that. But with that said, let's dive into the numbers of what you actually could expect. I'm going to go quick here. I'm going to go very quick here. Hopefully our editor keeps up with me. I'm going to run through the numbers. We went through this last week with my friend Dave's portfolio. I'm going to tell you what the low or a disappointing bull market price could be and what this portfolio would turn into. I'm going to tell you what a conservative, honest level should be. And then we'll talk about a potential moon situation where this bull market goes far and beyond what we think is possible and tell you what this portfolio could be worth. But let's go through it really quickly. Bitcoin, I think on the low end, we're talking about $150,000. Ethereum, low end, $7,000. Solana, low end, $700. SUI would be somewhere around $20. Chainlink would be around $100. Cardano would be in the world of $4. AVAX, $200. ONDO, $6. Render, $50. FET, $7. IMX, $7. Beam, 13 cents. DAG, 38 cents. And then, of course, SHIB, you got your 4 zeros and then like 87931. Okay. Those are my low level price predictions for these coins. Again, in a disappointing bull market, they should still at least make it to here. Let's pretend Adam cashed out all of those details. His portfolio, currently worth $262,000, would be worth not quite a 3X, but it would be a $618,000 portfolio. Listen, that's solid. That's good. Obviously, it's more than a 2X, but it's not going to get Adam anywhere near where he wants to be. But again, that's the disappointing bull market. You take what you get in a disappointing bull market. Let's move into conservative bull market. What do I think realistically all these can do? And this is ultimately the number as to why I don't think that Adam has the perfect portfolio for his goals. Let's get into the details. Conservatively, Bitcoin, we're looking at $200,000. I think it could go a little higher than that conservatively, but let's make it nice and clean, $200,000. Ethereum, we're looking at about $15,000. I know some people think that's crazy. Ethereum might end up being on the more disappointing side, but I still think Ethereum has a route to $15,000 conservatively. Solana, $1,300. SUI, $50. Chainlink, $300 to $400, but let's go with $300 on the lower end because it's conservative. Cardano, $7. AVAX, we're looking here at $400. ONDO, roughly $14. We got Render, $100. FET, $14. IMX, $14. Beam, 25 cents. DAG, 75 cents. And then SHIB, 3016. This portfolio conservatively, again, this is where this whole judge is coming from. The judgment of this portfolio is coming from. $1.1 million. So $1,155,420 to be exact. This is falling way short of that goal of roughly 1.6 to 1.7 mil. This is why I do think that this portfolio could be switched around a little bit. But Adam, on the good side, let's pretend the moon situation happened. If you're willing to wait on it, not that I think it's wise to wait on it, but if in an extended bull market or much more money flowing in than we thought was originally possible, let's look at the moon situation and possibility for this portfolio. Bitcoin, $350,000 potential. Ethereum, $30,000 potential. Solana, $2,000 potential. Sui, $80 potential. Chainlink, $600 potential. Could go to $7, but let's just stick with $600 for Chainlink. Cardano, $10 potential. AVAX, $630 potential. ONDO, $25 potential. Let's go. Render, $200 potential. FET, a $25 potential. IMX, $25 potential. Beam, 50 cents potential. DAG, $1.50. And then SHIB, 3 zeros and a 3. This portfolio would meet your goals. It would be crossing just over $2 million in your portfolio. But again, it's the moon situation. I would not necessarily wait for all these levels to start taking profit. So with that being said, those are my 3 different levels, my 3 different expectations for this portfolio. Adam, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if this was helpful, if it was not helpful. The rest of you as well, let me know your thoughts on this episode of Rate My Portfolio. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What does Adam need to do, in your personal opinion, to make this portfolio better? Also, we got a lot of submissions this last week, a lot more than I thought we were going to get, but I want to continue to see you guys reach out. If you want your portfolio reviewed, make sure to go in the description, join our free Discord, reach out to us through our ticketing system, and you can apply to be on the next episode of Rate My Portfolio. With that said, smash the like on your way out, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Hey there, if you enjoyed this video, don't just smash the like and hit subscribe, but watch another one as well, like this one right here. And if you want to learn more about trading and investing and get more confident along the way, learning with an amazing community, you might want to click this link right there. So go ahead, click them.